I'm being interviewed as a committee member of the Committee on Psychosocial Aspects of Child and Family Health of the American Academy of Pediatrics. I've been a member of that committee now for several years and just reappointed to that committee. And the goal of that committee is to advise the American Academy of Pediatrics on issues related to psychosocial functioning of children and families, which is a great privilege for me to be able to participate there. And one of the things that that committee has done recently is to issue guidance on effective discipline, which is really a policy statement representing the American Academy of Pediatrics, which for the first time has come out in an official way recommending methods other than spanking for the disciplining of children. And this is guidance for pediatricians practicing in the United States. What's unbelievable to me is that the whole issue of corporal punishment as a form of violence in the family hasn't been something that people have been able to talk about. I think the reason for that is because of how it reminds us of our past. It's almost too painful to touch. The fact that our parents might have been weak in this area, might have done things that they shouldn't have done, that we are weak as parents and might be doing things that we shouldn't do. We can't bear to look at our own weakness in this area. Well, we have to grow up. We have to look at this, and we have to look at it not only personally, but also as a society and through research. The way we make progress now to go beyond being animals is really to be able to look at things from an intellectual point of view. How important is this factor? Certainly we know that the poor outcome of children is related to many things other than corporal punishment. It's only one piece, but it's one piece that should be fairly easy to change because, as I've pointed out, people don't want to hit their children. They feel badly after they do it. They use it inconsistently because they don't really like doing it. And they make matters worse. They're increasing behaviors that they don't want to increase for reasons that they don't understand. And one of the problems is that the outcome is so far down the road that we don't really know the connection. It's hard to show that. That's the kind of thing that a combination of longitudinal and cross-sectional studies can demonstrate. There needs to be support for that, but we've got to get our head out of the sand. We have to be willing to look at it. Just as the way it's been hard for Americans to look at their ambivalence about sexuality, this one is easily as highly charged a topic for people to talk about. But we can do it. We are grown-ups now. We can really address these things even when we have high emotions associated with it, find the facts, and move forward in a way that will benefit not only our children, but ourselves and our society.
Now there is another very strong force in our country strongly against punishing children. And these are the scientists, these are the psychologists, the sociologists, the marriage and family counselors. These are people who either have done research evaluating different parenting styles, or they have experience as therapists dealing with families who have been destroyed by punishment. And so there now is so much evidence. It's unbelievable how much evidence there is about the bad effects of punishing children. Weak punishment doesn't work. Strong punishment causes all kinds of problems for children. The research evidence is so clear that parents who don't punish their children have children who are whose behavior is better. They do better in school. They have better relationships with their parents. There is just so many studies that show not only the terrible effects of punishment, but now there are studies that show that when parents establish more of a partnership relationship with their kids, when they learn some methods of influencing their children rather than forcing or controlling their children, then they have children that are remarkable. They're lovable, they're peace-loving, they do better in school, they're more often in leadership positions in the school, other kids like them, and so on. They don't drink as much, they don't not as likely to take drugs, and I would say that I have read over 100 such research studies that show the advantages, the disadvantages of using punishment, of trying to control children. You know, it's so amazing that so much research has been done to validate the kinds of things I've been talking about today, that validate the harm of raising kids by using control, discipline, punishment, and just as badly to be permissive and allow the kids to do whatever they want to do.
I think one of the big things that stands in the way of making more progress in reducing the level of violence and child rearing is that people simply don't have an understanding of what is involved. And therefore, it doesn't seem like a big deal. In fact, they think you're making a mountain out of a molehill. This is exactly what things were like with smoking. When the first studies about smoking and lung cancer came out, it was poo-pooed because people had no way of seeing this in their own lives. What they saw was the satisfaction they got from smoking. They weren't able to see the danger that it posed. You can only see that with research data. So we have to get the scientific evidence in the hands of people. That's the only way they're going to have an understanding. And when that scientific evidence is presented, when people learn about the risks that they are exposing their child to, just as they learned about the risks that they're exposing themselves to through smoking, millions will quit. Not everyone, but millions.